Meeting be closed, and the board certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting to which the certification applies, and only such business matters as were identified in the motion concerning the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Ms. Shuttleworth?
Mr. Sturgeon?
Yes.
Mrs. Tanner?
Yes.
Mr. Bullock?
Yes.
Ms. Smiley?
Yes.
Ms. Garner?
Yes.
Mrs. Blackstock?
Yes.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Okay, if you all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in the moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, I want to welcome everyone here tonight on this night that could be messy weather, so we're going to try to move through this rather quickly. We've heard that this is going to start anywhere from 7 to midnight, so we want to get you home safely and sound. I'm sure Mr. Sturtevant will agree that he'd rather have all of us off the road than out there when this stuff starts. So we're gonna move through this. The school board members' appreciation is Carla.
Good evening, Madam Chair, school board members, and Dr. Thornton. February is designated as School Board Appreciation Month. The school divisions across our Commonwealth join me in celebrating and in recognizing school board members for their years of service in education. I'm so happy to present each of you with a gift of thanks for your dedication, for your duty, and for your daily support to Mecklenburg administrators, staffs and faculties, parents, and students. I would like to call your name and just stand as we present our gift and certificate from VSBA to you. Dale Sturtevant. Ms. Dora Garner. Mr. Thomas Bullock. Ms. Deborah Smiley. Ms. Sandra Tanner. Mr. Glenn Edwards. Mr. John Wagstaff. Miss Mary Hicks. She's not here. And Mr. Robert Poyer. Miss Sharon Shuttleworth, clerk of our board. And student liaisons from Parkview High School, Miss Mason Mills. Bluestone. Sorry. And from Parkview High School, Mr. Chris Wilson. We would like to individually and collectively thank you for remaining true and strong and steadfast in our work to accomplish the vision, the mission, and the hopes and dreams in Mecklenburg County Public Schools. Thank you, and you can open those because we want you to use them tonight and tomorrow.
Thank you very much. The Special Education Annual Plan, Ms. Peffer.
Evening, board members, Dr. Thornton, school liaison, Madam Chair. In your packet, you received a copy of the annual plan. The first 4 pages are policy statements and assurance statements that we are following IDEA regulations. There's a report on the implementation of how those funds were spent last year. There's a copy of the maintenance of effort. This is our an estimated maintenance of effort. We are on track to make our maintenance of effort next year. Hopefully we won't have any state funding cuts before the end of the year. We are required to set aside money to provide services for students that are homeschooled and are in private schools. We probably serve about 3 students. You'll have at the back, you'll have the 611 funds and the 619 funds, which are preschool. Throughout the year, we were cut $890 in our federal 611 fund, but our funding should remain the same for next year. Any questions?
Any questions or comment from Ms. Peffer? Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the Bluestone High School overnight field trip, FBLA, April 10th through 12th. Mr. Coleman.
Good evening, board. Dr. Thornton, Chair. I'm going to present to you tonight the FBLA students will be taking a overnight trip. I apologize for not having this to you earlier, but it was a rearrange of personnel that actually led to the actual FBLA. The new person that's going to take charge is Ms. Moore, Ms. Sarah Moore. And with this overnight trip, I don't have an actual number yet. On March the 12th, they'll be going to regional. And from the regional competition, you'll find out exactly who is able to go to state. So after, on March the 12th, I will actually have the numbers of actually who's going to the state competition. State competition will be held April the 10th through the 12th. Once again, that'll be April the 10th through the 12th. Are there any questions concerning the FBLA overnight trip?
Okay. Hearing no questions, we'll let you move on to the overnight field trip for Beta Convention, March 20th through 22nd.
Okay. The Beta Club. The Beta Club convention, of course, I think you all know that what the Beta Club pretty much stands is promote the ideas in academic achievement, character, leadership, and service among elementary, secondary schools. Once again, Mr. Kirkland has actually taken over at the high school, the Beta Club. We've had a large enrollment with the Beta members, and so the actual participation level has raised tremendously. With that said, being that he took over in January, it wasn't a lot of time to actually submit this till now. So the Beta Club will be taking a trip, if approved, on the 20th and returning on, like you said, the 21st. Then.
Okay, are there any questions or comments?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just curious to know what's the reason for the increase in participation?
Mr. Kirkland, the gentleman that we have to do it right now, he has a very charismatic personality. I actually went through the school and they had a practice going on, and it was 82 students actually in the library for the Beta Club this past practice or sign-up time when they were trying to decide what actual fundraisers and different things we were doing. So an exact reason why, I can't tell you. All I can say is it has something to do with the personality of the actual sponsor.
Maybe improvement in grades.
Grades.
Yeah, because they have to
Yes.
have AB, right? AB.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I will have other sponsors on there at this time. Once again, if you know, I'm trying to find out what teachers I can actually have go on this actual trip and what teachers I am going to actually need in the school. There will be 3 other sponsors.
Ms. Wagstaff?
Tonight, we're just voting on the Beta and not the FBLA? I see on action, it's just the Beta. Are we voting on both of them tonight?
Let's see.
Because in the action, I just see the beta. Can we put the FBLA in action also? Combine them?
The other one's not till
One's April.
April 10th.
So we're going to vote on that
So
next
you
month?
vote on it.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you, Mr. Coleman.
All right, thank you.
The Parkview High School overnight field trip HOSA competition, Ms. Kinley.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman Tanner, Dr. Thornton, and school board members. Parkview High School is requesting an overnight field trip for our Health Occupation Student Association. This is actually a leadership conference where they will go and learn a little bit more in depth about the health occupation services and professions that they go into after high school. The reason that this was not submitted in the fall is because we just received information the latter part of January, solidifying the location as Williamsburg. We have about 15 students who have signed up to go on this overnight trip, and both of our Health Occupation Student Association teachers will be accompanying them. Great question. Unfortunately, this is such a popular, what's a fortunate thing, that it's such a popular conference for the entire state, Ms. Garner, that the hotel is not able to accommodate everyone. And as a result, we are going to be staying right beside the hotel, and they wanted to make sure that if we needed to have a car. So they were checking on that. We believe it's in walking distance, and we don't think we're going to need it, but we are not staying at the actual hotel where the conference is located.
Any other questions from Ms. Kinley? Okay, thank you. VSBA Policy Section K, School Community Relations, and L, Education Agency Relations. Mrs. Pittard?
Good evening, school board members, chairman, Dr. Thornton, school liaisons, or student liaisons. Just want you to know that this is the last two sections of the VSBA policy, so we have almost completed full adoption. That doesn't mean that we won't bring forth regulations as we work through the policy as needed. That will be added as we go. The school community relations is presented this month for first read. Topics in this goal is the goals for school community relations, public information programs, requests for public information, media relations, internet policies, public use of school facilities, school visitors, sex offender notification. This section will replace Section 2 of our current policy. Then Section L, which is Education Agency Relations, is presented. Topics in this section include relations with private schools, home instruction, charter schools, student teachers, and educational accreditation agencies. This section will replace Section 6, Article 1. Please read these policies prior to March. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me so I can answer any questions. Okay.
Any questions?
The whistleblower policy that came about, when are we going to discuss that further as far as whether or not we're going to make it part of our...
Dr. Thornton sent it to all of us for review, and if you would like to send that to me, and we'll put it on the agenda for next month.
I
If you wanna
did
discuss it at that
contact,
time.
I don't know if I mentioned, I contacted VSBA and talked to Ms. Ewing, and she said, that they don't typically have that policy because we have the grievance procedures within, and also, I think within the finance policy, there is a whistleblower policy
pertaining to
inside.
finance?
Mhm. And then we have the grievance procedures for the harassment.
So just send you an email, Ms. Tanner?
If you want that on the agenda for next month, we'll go ahead. I mean, I'll just go ahead and tell them now and put
Yes.
it on there. Okay. All right, any other comments or concerns? Okay, Ms. Pittard, you're up for the 2015-2016 calendar.
Okay, great. I have a PowerPoint to just kind of go over the results of the survey that we sent out to parents, students, and teachers. I want to just start off by mentioning that the goals of the calendar committee were to provide the most sound instructional calendar for students, provide enough teacher work days and professional development days for employees to prepare, plan, and grow professionally, and increase the number of instructional days. Those were the goals. The wants were that high school teachers and parents of high school students wanted to complete first semester before Christmas due to testing and exams. Employees want to maintain a 2-week Christmas break. Employees want Wednesday at Thanksgiving for traveling. So we had 3 options, and so I want to just briefly go over the pros and cons of each option, and all the options are listed on your board docs. For option 1, it's 173 student days, 9 teacher work days, 9 professional development days. The pros of this one is first semester ends before Christmas break. The cons are it's not enough time at the beginning of school for teachers to prepare and train. Flex days are incorporated to be used between July 27th and August 7th. PD and teacher work days are at the end of the year, more ideal to spread throughout the year, and graduation may interfere with other college graduations, which was a request from parents, that it not interfere. Option 2 has 175 student days, 9 teacher work days, 8 PD days. Pros of this one are time to prepare and train at the beginning of school year. PD and teacher work days are at the beginning of school and throughout the school year. Graduation will not interfere with college graduation. We kind of looked at the dates to make sure that that didn't interfere. The cons are first semester does not end before Christmas. Students will need to come back after Christmas to complete exams and SOL testing. Option 3 is 175 student days, 9 teacher work days, 8 PD days. Pros are that the first semester ends before Christmas break, time to prepare and train at the beginning of the school year, PD and teacher work days provided during the year, with most of them in second semester. Graduation will not interfere with college graduation. Cons is that the Christmas break will start December 23rd, but they will still have their 2 weeks. Okay, let me just show you the results of the survey. This is the overall survey combining parents, students, and employees. Option 2 was chosen overall, with 41% voting for that one. Then option 3 was second, and option 1 was third. Okay, and remember, option 2 is after finishes first semester during in January. Second choice, you can see, was option 3, and third choice was option 1. So it came in last. All right, for parents, I kind of looked at it just in that group. Option 2 is their first choice, then option 3, and then option 1. Students chose option 2, then option 3, and then option 1. And employees chose option 3 first by a small margin option 1, I'm so sorry, option 1, and then option 3, and then option 2. So that gives you the data. We would like to recommend option 2 or 3 as the option to go with based on the pros and cons, and we would like for you to decide using the information which calendar you think best fits the students in Mecklenburg County.
Did you ask for reasons why?
We did have a list of comments, and their comments went from there's such a broad spectrum of reasons for.
The reason why I was asking, because since option 2 does not end before Christmas, that sort of surprised me that parents and students were asking for this.
I think it's the late start in August that appealed to them, and you've got to also realize that elementary and middle school finishing before Christmas isn't as important as it is to the high school, which is a smaller group than the elementary and middle. So high school typically chose to finish first semester before Christmas, but it doesn't mean as much at the elementary and middle level. So everybody's got their own agenda. If you come together with a group, you're going to get 10 different ideas, because everybody has different needs, and we try to make a compromise so that it best fits all students. But what elementary needs and what high school needs are oftentimes different.
So you're asking us to make the choice between option 2
and option 3.
Instead of recommending option 2, as it appears that teachers, parents, and students all wanted option 2.
Mm-hmm.
One of the questions came up, and Chris asked it tonight, and was a great question when we were eating earlier, and asked about, is there a difference in the SOL testing? whether you take it before Christmas or after Christmas. And there is no statistical difference in the SOL testing scores. And I think the biggest factors were, when we went this way before, were governor's school. People do like to end at Christmas because that's what colleges do. You're done. And you don't worry about it. You come back and you take your new classes. The governor's school, the dual enrollment, those are the times that didn't line up as well before. We've managed it before.
But they line up with option 3.
Right, they do line up.
Not with option 2.
Right, they still line up with option 3.
And if you look at it with the survey, option 1 and 3 were the two together. If you combine those, there's not a lot of difference between those two, but
Does the decision have to be made tonight?
it would be good. That way it lets people know ahead of
The
time.
reason I'm asking, since you've got the 2 right here, throw out option 1 and send it back. Say, give them 2 weeks to come up between 2 and 3 and see which would next month be too late to decide?
That's a question. The later we push it, it does hurt families that are trying to make vacation plans. I will say that, and we've had that comment before. So
Well,
we try to make it as early as possible.
We still
but-
get comments and from parents who want the after Labor Day
Right,
start. I
we
mean, I
do.
still get a lot of that, so,
Yes,
and of course, that wasn't even an option, but.
right, yeah.
How many, I have a question. How many more years are we on a waiver to be able to start before Labor Day? I noticed that they did not pass.
Yeah.
It's an individual year-by-year basis based on the average number of days you've missed in the last 10 years. So you pick the top 5 and you average them, and if it averages out to be 8 days, then you get the waiver for the next year.
So where are we?
Well,
next
I mean,
year?
we have it for next year.
Okay,
Yeah, we've already met that.
all right. And I want to ask the chairman something, the chairperson, chair lady, chair, okay. I'm so used to saying chairman. The Department of Tourism recommends that we start after Labor Day, and I understand why. You work for them.
And that's why I always abstain.
Okay. I was wondering which one you prefer. I like to follow the chairperson's lead, you know?
I abstain.
The Labor Day, after Labor Day starts, you don't get 2 weeks at Christmas as well. I think that's what most people really like, is the 2 weeks at Christmas, right?
The employees do like
Yeah.
having that, and the students, I think, like
Yeah,
that.
the parents usually don't.
Could we, Ms. Garner does have a point. Could we push it back and let the parents and faculty decide between those 2 options? And it doesn't have to be until our next meeting. Once you get the results back, you can send that to us. And I would think that it will, at least will give them an opportunity between 2 different points to choose from, because at this point, then we're going to have to decide. I
Right.
think the parents and the staff should have an opportunity to choose between those 2 only, and then whatever the recommendation from that, then we can make a better decision.
And you could send an email that said this is what.
And you all are okay with the email vote for the calendar?
At least
Or
we have
do
the
we-
input.
Okay.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
I saw on the graphic that the employees chose 39% for the first option.
Mhm.
And if you can answer it, or if Dr. Thornton can, I'd like to know why the professionals and faculty wanted to end after first semester and exams then.
Well, you're talking about option 1
Option
or?
one. It
Option
said
1,
the-
it ended before Christmas.
Option 1?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Option 2 ends
Was-
in January,
Okay.
after Christmas, yeah.
Well, the whole purpose of us moving it back the last time was so that everything ended before Christmas.
Right.
And they all, everyone thought that that would help the SOL scores
Right.
because they were fresh, taking the test fresh, and then wouldn't be out those 2 weeks and coming back for review. But then since then, I've heard from some teachers, they didn't feel like it was enough time in there. They would like to have that time where they come back and review.
I have heard that too.
So, and then, of course, I've heard from parents, they want
Right.
the other. So, what is the pleasure of the board? Do I hear a motion?
Don't we have a
Well, that's only for a public hearing, and that's all we advertise for that, so that's all we'll do, is a public hearing.
I would like to make the motion that we take option 2 and 3 and send it back for the parents, students, and faculty to choose from. Okay.
Okay.
And then get the results to us.
Yes.
Okay, do I hear?
Okay.
She can, let's wait and do that during the action item when it
Okay.
comes up.
Oh, okay.
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 Well, then we've got to add that to the agenda.
No, because it's on
Actually,
there.
okay.
It's
But
blank.
we've got to add it to
It
action.
could potentially, and I
Oh,
could
it's-
put
oh,
in on
okay,
the survey,
okay.
what level are you currently teaching, so we could break it down further as to, but it's really difficult because everybody is, has different needs and different wants. Okay, all right, and so, you want me to move on, are y'all ready, or do you want to?
Yes, you're next with the bus and substitute teacher pay comparisons for Region 8.
Okay. So I mentioned to you in January that would bring to you the information from Region 8 concerning our bus driver pay and our substitute pay. So here we have a graph that exhibits bus driver pay with 0 years of experience in Region 8. And of course, we're in red. So we're not at the bottom, we're not at the top, we're somewhere, lower in middle. Bus drivers' annual pay range from $8,782 to $13,161 for 0 years of experience. The top of the scale for bus drivers range from $10,291 to $17,379, with Mecklenburg paying $14,127 on an annual basis. And then we looked at substitute pay. This is substitute teacher pay without a degree. We pay $60 for substitutes without a degree and with a degree. And I think I've got the wrong one highlighted.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, sorry about that. Mecklenburg is over there with $60. So we're at the top or the higher end of the scale. Apologize for that. And then the next one shows substitute teachers with a degree. So they differentiate at other counties, and that might be something that we would want to look at for the future. If you have a bachelor's degree or higher, that you have differential pay. It ranged from $60 up to, I believe, $73, or close to $74. Any questions?
Yes. Bus driver pay. I thought we paid by the day.
Well, we do, but then we multiply it by the number of days to get an annual salary so that we could compare it to other counties. So,
But I know, you said a new driver with no experience.
right.
They all get paid the same, whether they've been here 100 years or one.
That's right. But like their annual, so we took their daily rate and multiplied it by the number of days that they work to get an annual salary to compare it to the other counties that pay an annual salary for their bus drivers.
So you didn't include extra trips into that?
No, I did
Okay.
not. No,
So
that
some
was
bus
just-
drivers make a lot of money.
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Yes. This was just their base pay compared to other, but you're right, we do pay for extra trips, so they have opportunities, some of them to.
So a raise would have to come in as a daily raise. It wouldn't be like an hourly raise, it'd be
That's right.
just a daily trip raise, right?
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Okay, that's what I need to know.
All right, I had a question today
Okay.
from a bus driver. Now, I don't know whether this is true, but I'm asking. Do bus drivers that go on regular trips get paid less, now I'm talking about extra trips, get paid less than bus drivers that do athletics?
I could not answer that without looking at the information. I'd be afraid to tell you without, I don't have the figures in my head right now. Yeah, Lee is here. Do you know, without looking at the spreadsheet? Can you say it one more time? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You want to come up here? Don't mean to put you on the spot.
Yes, they do get paid differently from doing an athletic trip versus a field trip, so to speak. And field trips tend to go over their route times as well as the athletic, especially in the evenings. A driver that takes an athletic trip gets paid for doing their afternoon run if that athletic trip takes them over that period of time. A driver that takes a field trip does not. They just get paid the straight field trip pay.
Why?
I don't know. It was done before I came here, so I can't answer that.
So we can look into it, and, you know, if that's, there's some questions,
Yeah.
you could email me.
Yeah, I had a question. That's what I was asking today.
Right.
I'm
But
glad.
they're not getting paid different amount of money. What he's saying is, someone who drives the basketball team to a game, per se, and has to leave before their afternoon run, they get paid their afternoon run plus their hourly rate for that trip. And for a field trip, if you go on a field trip and you're a driver and you take the field trip early in the morning and you don't come back till 5 at night, you're not getting paid for your run that day. You're choosing to get paid the field trip rate for that whole day instead. And the reason that started happening was they made more on their afternoon run than they made taking the kid to a basketball game, so no one would sign up for a basketball game. So the only way to get someone to take kids to a basketball game was to pay them for their afternoon run and pay them their hourly rate. So it's not a different rate, it's different circumstances. So
we're
basically, the bus drivers are deciding, do they make more money by taking the field trip, or do they make more money by staying home and running their normal run? That's how they make the decision of whether they take the run or not.
All right, who pays the substitute to take the regular bus driver's route when they're on a,
We do.
okay.
So it's additional cost to us.
I have one other question before you sit down, if you don't mind.
Did that help?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. I've had some parents concerned about, we're taking some trips, some pretty long trips. That one of them is to Virginia Beach. Another's going to Washington D.C. to the Kennedy Center, and these kids still going to be, I suppose, at the 5th grade that's going. First of all, how many hours a day can a driver drive and set up, or are we sending 2 drivers on that trip? And second of all, with the amount of the problems we're having, like Homeland Security problems, you must have to stop at least a couple of times to let these kids go to the bathroom. Is that true? I mean, I've had some parents that called me and said they had concerns and their child would not go. And I just wanted to know how long, are we sending 2 bus drivers or just one for all day? If they leave at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and get home at 10 at night, that's a long day for somebody, because they won't let a truck driver go that long.
By DOT standards, regulations, a driver can drive 10 hours a day, actual behind the wheel.
But doesn't he have to take a break at 8 hours?
It's different passenger carrying drivers versus truck drivers, but.
That's
truck
amazing. We
truck
think more of a tractor trailer than we do of a busload of kids.
Truck drivers, you're right, but
Okay, so are we sending 1 driver or are we sending 2?
just 1 per bus.
And five buses, right?
But are they taking a break while the kids are doing the tours and things like that?
Right. So there's about a 4.5 or 5 hour break when they're there, and they come back, the day is broken in 2. Right.
Okay.
And we did, we investigated charter buses, and we obviously need to book much sooner, because Ms. Tuck found out that April is prime season, and we could not get chartered buses.
I think these parents had a concern about running 5 buses up Interstate 95. Yeah, I mean, when you get to Fredericksburg, it's like kamikaze up there, you know. So that's the reason it was concerned that We had one bus driver.
All right, I have one more question.
Sure.
Substitute teachers. At one time, a teacher with a degree made at least $10 more than substitutes without a degree. When did it go back where they're making the same amount?
Well, since I've been here, the way that it's worked, even when I wasn't here, everybody made $60 a day unless it was a long-term sub-pay position. If you worked, more than 10 consecutive days, then you were paid $70, but you also had to have the degree. So I don't know that I don't remember a time when degreed, and it may have been, it just hasn't been while I've been here. The only time that we pay $70 is if it's a long-term sub position for a substitute that has a degree.
All right, now, teachers with, substitutes without degrees at one time could only work 90 days a school year. Has that changed?
That's in one position, and they're only, we have to make sure that we follow the affordable health care, that they're not going over, I believe, 135 days, so that they don't average out to be more than 30 hours a week. So,
Any more questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The student liaisons report, Ms. Mills.
Good evening, Dr. Thornton, Ms. Tanner, and school board members. Not only is it School Board Appreciation Month, but it is CTE Month as well. So I decided to put a PowerPoint together of CTE Day at Bluestone High School that happened February 5th. During parent-teacher conferences on February the 5th, the CTE department, including teachers and students, showed off their skills in their certain field. Here are a couple of pictures from that night. So the first one was the FFA department. We have two students, senior Summer Fink and 8th grader Wesley Crump. The FFA department does a lot of stuff for the county. They have a Food for America Day in May that the 4th graders from Clarksville Elementary and Chase Elementary come, and all of the people that are in the FFA and the ag classroom comes in and helps with this day, and they show all the 4th graders about hydroponics, welding, animals, Virginia products, stuff like that. We also have FBLA. There is Sam Hicks and Rex Ligon. They are both juniors, and actually me and Chris are in FBLA as well. We are in the Longwood region with 17 other counties, and we actually have 3 members from our schools that are actually on our regional team, which is Noah Nichols. He is the corresponding secretary for the Longwood region. Hank Dunn is from Bluestone High School. He is a senior, and he is the vice president of the Longwood region. And we have, Megan Young from Parkview High School, and she is the president of the Longwood region. Also, we have the nursing class, and there's Anna Sullivan. She is given the blood pressure from Michael Kiger. There also is going to be a blood drive March 31st, so if anybody wants to come out to Bluestone High School, they will have that as well. Robotics. I tried to get them to take a decent picture, and this is what I got. So it's kind of cool because it kind of shows off the personalities, but they have Scrappy, which is a pretty cool robot that goes and does competitions and stuff, and that's Jacob Lohman, Dylan Miles, Aaron Moody, and Bryce Burke. They're all juniors at Bluestone High School. Also, it's the art department. There's Brittany Stevenson. She is a senior, and Lisa Mills. Brittany did a project about one of her famous idols, and Lisa did a project about one of the famous wrestlers out there. The other departments is the carpentry, culinary arts, DECA, photojournalism, yearbook, and JROTC. And then there's a little graphic about everybody that's in the CTE department. So thank you, CTE department, for all that you do for the students in the community. Thank you.
Okay. Chris?
Hi, I know everyone's trying to get out of here before the snow hits and everything, so I'm going to keep it kind of short and abstain, but we also had a similar CTE day at Parkview, and it's a really nice chance to see everything that the school does, and it's a great expo that I encourage everyone to go to throughout each year to see how the school is developing the specialized skills that students decide they want to further as a career in their lifetime. And I think our departments do a great job of educating and training them for the future that they want to have. And that's all I've got to say, and thank you.
Okay, any questions? All right. Dr. Thornton, capital improvement.
Okay, thank you. We had our work session earlier in the month on February 5th, and I just want to inform you the public hearing will be March 3rd at 6 p.m. right here. The schools have on their web pages their requests, so if you're interested in a particular school, you can go to their web page and see the different requests. On the main page, you'll see several PowerPoints on there, including the line item budget requested. And so please come to the meeting and support the issues that you think that we need funded for our schools. And we've also requested a budget to meet with the Budget Finance Committee from the Board of Supervisors and do a presentation. Our school principals will be doing that presentation, and it will last about an hour in length, and we do not have that date currently.
Any questions?
One quick one. These estimates that we're getting on, are these just, I mean, how are we coming up with the numbers on these estimates?
Some of the estimates the principals got from actual contractors who came and gave rough estimates, and others were through the maintenance department. They were all given by different contractors.
Okay. Public input, do we have them? All right. At this time, matters may be publicly brought to the attention of the board and administration. Public comments at board meetings are just one of many avenues for communication, and the board recognizes and appreciates the importance of input from and communication with the public we represent. The public is invited to sign up to speak prior to the beginning of the meeting. The clerk of the school board will write down their name, address, and the topic that you wish to speak about. The public is allowed up to 6 minutes at most meetings to express their views. Please respect that time limitation. It will be enforced. Please understand that it may not be possible to immediately respond to questions. As a reminder, it is inappropriate at public meeting to make personal attacks, to be defamatory, or to disparage individuals or identifiable groups. Again, we welcome and appreciate your input. Prior to beginning your comment, please state your name to the board. Ms. Shuttleworth.
Good evening. My name is Wanda Bailey. Tonight I'd like to speak about unintended consequences, unfunded mandates, and unsustainable ideas. Next week we will have our annual public hearing to discuss the budget needs for 2015-16, and you will hear requests from middle and high school principals for additional staff that I agree are crucial needs. We need more English, math, science, and elective teachers to handle the increasing demand by students at Parkview Middle and Parkview High School. We have an overcrowding issue at our South Hill schools because of the number of students we are serving, which has become disproportionate compared to our western schools. Until we decide the future of our physical plants, we will have to address this issue quickly, as Parkview Middle and Parkview High School are running out of classrooms in which to offer classes. A possible solution might include a temporary redrawing of school assignment lines to alleviate some of this pressure until school improvement takes place. Another aspect of this increasing staff demand has to do with our 7-credit academic year on the secondary level. At this critical budget time of year, it is an ideal time to discuss how the calendar and scheduling changes that have been made in the last 2 years have affected our instructional time, student outcomes, and yes, the budget. Who would have thought that decreasing our academic year by 1 credit would have such far-reaching consequences? Well, a lot of us did, as we expressed our concerns before the schedule was changed. All of the things that we said would happen have, and more things have happened that we didn't anticipate. We are trying to cram an increasing amount of students into a smaller credit day, which is causing our core and elective classes to bulge at the seams, which puts increased pressure on teachers to do their jobs with the same amount of care and attention to detail. The list of elective offerings is diminishing because of staffing shortages, and students do not have the luxury of choosing elective classes that can broaden their horizons in a 7-credit year, given that about 30% of all students are rushing through an associate's degree program through SBCC during their high school career. Students must start their accumulation of high school credit at the middle school in Spanish, Algebra 1, and Geometry to make up for the 4 credits they lost when the new schedule was implemented. Granted, this doesn't affect all students, just those who are striving for the most challenging curriculum that we can offer them. This new schedule was devised to give teachers more preparation at the beginning of their day, and some really do need it now, given that their planning period is the 4th block of the day, a 45-minute one, or for those who have lunch duty during their 100-minute planning period who can't take full advantage of the time to prepare, grade, etc. Bulging classes force teachers to take home more and more of their work. Now, teachers have always taken home work, but now those stacks are higher than usual. Their planning time in the morning is not always their time. They're meeting with other teachers to plan collaboratively, and professional development takes place during these sessions as well. So much for additional planning in our new 7-credit year. I'm sure staff would be willing to share their concerns about all these things if they didn't really think it would have negative consequences on their future employment and advancement within the Mecklenburg County school system. I'm sure administration did not intend for these negative consequences to occur when new scheduling was initiated. I am surprised, however, that administration did not foresee the bulging class sizes that would occur when offerings were diminished. Did they not anticipate the increased staffing needs that would expand our personnel line items? Did they not realize the deleterious effects that larger student-to-teacher ratios would yield? But it should be clear to everyone now, as we have lived it for almost 2 years, that at Parkview High, this 7-credit schedule is not working, and the trickle-down effects to Parkview Middle are unacceptable. I think now is the time for this before-school professional development experiment to be over. Let's go back to our 8-credit year, give our guidance counselors some creativity in scheduling, and give teachers and students the time and space to accomplish what we send them to school for, to educate and be educated. Thank you.
Thank you. We will move on to action items. Do I hear a motion that the school board approves the minutes of the reorganization and regular school board meeting held on January 20th, 2015? Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're talking about all this training we've been getting, and when we go back to we adopted the Robert's Rules of Order, and the last 2 items that we adopted at last meeting were done off the grid from Robert's Rules of Order. So I think somebody needs to take a look at that. If we're going to go by Robert's Rules of Order, we shouldn't have made the motions to put those back on the agenda at that meeting. Of course, it's maybe too late now because I'm sure all the paperwork has already gone to the state of Virginia. One was a resolution, I think, that had failed the month before by a vote of 4-4. And if you look at the law that we adopted, one of the dissenting members would have had to put that back on the agenda in January.
It was one of the members that wasn't present.
I don't think so.
You're the parliamentarian.
Yeah, would you clarify? Maybe I'm wrong. No, you're the parliamentarian. You were elected. You were elected in January.
No, I thought it was you who were the parliament. Okay. Okay.
But I just wondered, I mean, if you don't want to do it tonight, I'd like for it to be studied and so we can. Okay. So are y'all going to approve it? I'm just,
You're
I'm
gonna
just,
approve
ma-
the minutes, he's asking.
I'm just making a question.
Oh, yeah. I vote to approve the minutes.
Oh,
There's already been a motion to.
It's already a motion and a second.
okay. All those in favor for approving the minutes as written, or do I hear a motion that you want to amend the minutes? Okay. Do I hear a motion that we approve the minutes as presented tonight? All those in favor? All opposed?
Abstain.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Garner, you checked on the bills. Did you have any questions?
I had a couple, third mine, Ms. Garner was pretty stiff. Under instruction, it was $505 lunches for January.
Yes, ma'am, I pulled the invoice on that, and those were for the special education lunches that were sent out, and evidently we are reimbursing through the special education funds to school food.
Okay. And then Demco Incorporated was $1,109.
Yeah, I pulled the...
Paragon Access.
I pulled that invoice and confirmed that it is for the additional Parkview Middle School library. It was spent out of the library allocation to Parkview Middle School by the choice of the librarian.
And then on administrative, I had a question about Wire Woods. We're paying $2,500 a month, and was told that this is a retainer, and the extra money that was for litigation for that month, so I sort of figured that. Under maintenance, in the old central office, we paid Dominion $424.36, and water $48.97. And I was wondering why we were still maintaining the old central office. And according to Ms. Garner, that some of the diagnostic people have been moved back over into this building.
The in-service building.
In-service building.
I can answer that. They do, we house quite a bit of things over there. It is their central office for their speech, language, and OT we have over there, and that's what we've been maintaining it for, and we're even looking at hopefully moving that to over here to store. But it does need to be in a humidity control because it's things that are sensitive to heat and cold.
And then the tech E-rate, $365,500. This is a consulting fee, and I think it goes along with what the tech guys were talking about last time of recovering money.
Yes, ma'am, and it was an annual fee.
Yeah, that's what she was saying.
Okay. Now that you've gotten your questions answered, do I hear a motion that the school board approves the payment of bills?
I move that we pay the bills.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying the bills, raise your right hand. All those opposed?
Abstain.
Okay. Do I hear a motion that the school board approves the personnel recommendations?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Okay. VSBA Policy Section J, students. Do I hear a motion that the school board approves the VSBA Policy Section J, students?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Okay. The Bluestone High School Beta Overnight Field Trip to Richmond, Virginia on March 20th. Do I hear a motion that the school board approves the Bluestone High School Beta Overnight Field Trip from March 20th to March 22nd, 2015?
I move that we approve the field trip for the Bluestone students.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Do I hear a motion that the school board approves the Parkview High School overnight field trip to Williamsburg for the HOSA competition, March 13th to March 15th?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Okay. The 2015 calendar, what is the pleasure of the board on that? This is where you would make that motion.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that option 2 and 3 be sent back to the faculty, students, and parents for them to choose between the two, and an email sent to us with the data showing which option they chose, that we can vote on.
Okay. Any other discussion?
How long do you think that would take, Ms. Bitter?
Need to give them 3 to 4 days to answer, let's say by next Friday.
So you'll send an email out to us by next Friday? Okay.
I'll send an email to parents, teachers, students tomorrow, and we'll get the results, and I'll summarize it and send y'all the email Friday.
Okay. All right. All in favor, raise your right.
When do you expect an answer back from us?
Friday, she said by next Friday, I think.
Send it back.
Oh, Friday, okay. But
She'll let
You let someone make the deadline for us to get it back to you.
all right, you're gonna do, you said you'll send it out by this Friday, and then you'll know something?
I'll have the summary of results by
Next Friday, right.
and then y'all will give me information back on your timeline, whatever.
Okay. I thought that was it.
Okay, can we give you a deadline?
Yes.
Okay. I'll put that in the email.
Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? All right. The reminders, March 10th is the end of the 3rd grading period. March 13th is a teacher workday with no school. March 18th is report cards. March 19th, March 18th is report cards for elementary parents, and it's also parent-teacher conference. March 19th is report cards for middle school and parent-teacher conference. April 1st is the division spelling bee at South Hill Elementary. We got emails from Gina Lauermore asking if we would like to put a team together for this, so give it some thought and we'll look into that. Also, what's not listed on here is March 3rd, we have the Joint Education Committee meeting, and then we have the public hearing for the budget on March 3rd as well. Okay. Board member remarks?
Oh, I have a question on the committee.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What is CIP?
I'll get to that after the board member remarks.
Oh, okay.
I have a couple comments for tonight. First, I would say thank you so much for my present. I appreciate that so much, but, all right. So I'm wearing a ribbon tonight with the number 54. It belongs to a true basketball legend, Jerome Kersey. Graduated from Bluestone High School and started his college career with the Longwood Lancers. His jersey, number 54, hangs proudly in Willett Hall at Longwood University. I had the privilege to hear Mr. Kersey speak to the athletes at Bluestone High School. He challenged us to follow our dreams, always work hard, and never give up. Mr. Kersey had a 17-year NBA career. How amazing to start his career at Bluestone. I wish to express my heartfelt sympathy as a future athlete at Longwood University, and on behalf of all the athletes at BHS, our thoughts and prayers are with his family. Thank you.
Ms. Wagstaff.
I'm just going to be real brief because I know everybody wants to get out of here, but I also would like to thank you for my gift. Keep me warm. I also like to thank the Transportation Department for their continued vigilance about the roads and keeping our children safe, and y'all be careful out there.
Mr. Edwards?
real quick, in December, we recognized Chris Wilson. He'd been accepted at VMI, and that was one of his desires, and one of the things he wanted to do is to be a military officer, and he got started that way. That same night, I said that we needed to start watching ESPN for Macy Mills. And I'd just like to congratulate her. She's been accepted to Radford University on a golf scholarship, and I think we need to give her a big a round of applause, because I'm proud of these two, and I know she's done a great job. So it just proves if you listen to me, things will come true, because I brought that up in December.
Chris?
I want to say thank you for the gift, and it was really nice. It was a VMI cup, and I'm definitely going to use that. It was very nice. I'd also like to say that I hope everyone's safe over the next few days, because they put us under severe winter advisory, and I hope everyone doesn't go out unless they really need to, and to stay safe out on the roads, and have a good evening.
Mr. Sturdivant?
I also want to thank you for the gift. I will try to stay focused and do what's best for our county. Ms. Bailey, thank you for coming up speaking tonight. The Bluestone High School girls, they got another victory last night. They're still undefeated, and they're scheduled to play tomorrow, which will probably not happen. But as soon as the game is scheduled, Dr. Thornton, if you can just share that with all of us. And I saw a lot of staff in there last night, and it means a lot to the girls when we all show up. So thank you.
Ms. Garner?
I would like to thank everybody for the gift also, and I have enjoyed traveling to see the girls play. The Friday night they played in Farmville, I almost had a heart attack, but they got through that one. And last night they did really well, and I'm looking forward to going to the next one and my steak dinner.
Keep it under 100. Steak dinner, keep it under 100.
Mr. Bullock?
I want to thank everyone for the gift tonight, and also for the meal we received. And I said that I'm proud of our students. We've done well, and I'm proud of the teachers and the principal. They're trying to do the best they have. And I hope everybody have a safe trip home tonight.
Ms. Smiley?
Thank you for the warm and cozy blanket. It's beautiful. I'm really excited about that, to display it somewhere on a recliner maybe and put it to good use. And thank you for the meal. Unfortunately, I missed it. I got tied up with getting things collected that I need to work on tomorrow if we're snowed in. And just be safe out there on the roads.
Okay. Dr. Thornton? No comment? Okay. I want to thank the Bluestone Culinary Arts students for serving us tonight. I'm sorry I missed it. I was coming in from a training out in Southwest Virginia. But I understand it was very good. Thank you for our gift. And I'm going to make it very brief and say good night. And I hope everyone gets home safely. Mr. Edwards just said it's been snowing for a while, so. I haven't finished. Okay. The next on the agenda is the committees. The CIP that you were asking about is the Capital Improvement Plan Committee. Okay. And you've seen your committee assignments for the year? Whenever you call the meetings, or it's up to the committees when they meet. Do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All right. We are adjourned.